how do you think all of this, so we're talking about this, all these skills and the attitude of an entrepreneur, how does that translate, as I'm also a journalist turned entrepreneur, how does that translate to the journalists and the video and the storytellers out there and the people telling these stories? How can they survive this crisis?
You know, the key is that word story, right? I mean, we're all storytellers. Like, as an entrepreneur, you got to tell a story about your company. You got to make people believe that you can see around the corner. You've got a company that may have 1-2 people, doesn't even have a product, doesn't even have revenue. And you've got to go to a VC, or you got to go to a client or a partner and persuade them that you're inevitable, right? And that takes great storytelling. And I think that's at the core of why so many journalists can become entrepreneurs, is because they know how to communicate in a way that's going to make people feel, hell yeah, I want to be on this journey with that person. But the problem with journalists, and this is where, you know, they fall down a lot, is that they always want things to be absolutely perfect, right? We were always told that you could never make a mistake in a broadcast or on the front page of your paper. And the problem with entrepreneurship is it's all about failure, right? It's all about trying something. It doesn't work. You learn and you try again. So I think, you know, journalists can be the best entrepreneurs in the world, but also sometimes the worst, because everything has to be perfect out the gate. And we all know that, you know, if you're not embarrassed by the first product you ship, you know, you're too late. So I think there is a great, again, this creative tension between telling a story and having it absolutely compelling right there in day one, but also being able to trip up along the way and pull yourself back up again and be kind of embarrassed sometimes by the fact that that you're making so many screw ups. I think that's part of the balancing act.
Yeah, that's actually part of the name of this show. The Rough Cut was sort of about that, you know, the Story Hunter community is like made up of filmmakers and journalists and production companies and all these people, animators all over the world. And there's this one thing that most of them have in common, is that everything feels so precious, right? That you think that this is your last film, and that's how it always used to be. But really, in this age, you have to put out the rough cuts. You have to put out the rough cuts. So that's kind of what this is. It started as like a live stream. Then, you know, it's just put it out, give people the information, and keep moving.
Yeah, I love the story about George Lucas when he showed his friends, you know, the rough cut of Star Wars. And his friends were Steven Spielberg and Brian De Palma and people like that, and they hated it. And I think someone suggested, you know what you need? You need to just tell the entire story in the first 20 seconds. And that's where that famous scene of the Death Star comes around. So again, if, you know, he hadn't been willing to show the unvarnished, embarrassing rough cut, we never would have had that groundbreaking movie. So I always take some solace from that.